Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these caramel pretzel rods. You are going to need your caramel, your chocolate, and your pretzel rods of choice. Now I'm just going to take a clean kitchen scissor and my pretzel rod, and I'm going to use the scissor to carve a line around, kind of like what you would do with wood when you're going to snap it in half. I'm just going to do the same thing but with the pretzel rod. So I'm going to go around a couple times, putting some pressure there so I see this line when I take my scissor off, and then I'm just going to use some pressure and break the pretzel rod in half. And now I have two mini pretzel rods instead of one big one. And then I'm going to do that to all the rest of my pretzel rods. Then I'm going to heat up my caramel in the microwave. 10-second intervals is what I do, and then I just mix it in between. You also want to make sure that your caramel is warm. You don't want your caramel to be too hot, because if it is, you're just not going to be able to work with it. And then you are going to take your caramel and you are going to roll it out. I'm going to insert a picture of the caramel that I was using here. But if you decide to get the caramel cubes, you probably can do 1 cube per mini pretzel. With the caramel that I'm using, you kind of just have to eyeball it and just try and get them all the same size. And then I'm going to take that same kitchen scissor that I've been using for the pretzel rods, and I'm going to cut the caramel to the size that I think that I will need to wrap the pretzel. You always want to make sure, whether you're going to do mini pretzels or you're going to do like a full-size one, that the caramel is longer than the pretzel. Since you're going to be wrapping it around it, you're going to need it to be at least longer than the pretzel. As you see me doing here, I just took the top piece of the caramel and stuck it to the part that we snapped in half of the pretzel rod, and then I just wrapped it around the pretzel, and that's how it looks. I don't wrap it around the whole pretzel because you want a part that you can hold when you dip it in the chocolate. So I'm just going to roll this one out, again, bigger than the pretzel itself. And then I'm going to take the pretzel, stick it on the top part that we snapped off, and then just wrap it around the pretzel rod, again, not going all the way to the bottom so that you have a piece to hold when you dip it in the chocolate. I'm just making sure that that top piece is secure. And then I'm going to repeat the process with all the remainder of the pretzels. In this clip, I did have to reheat my caramel a little bit. You might have to do that after a couple pretzels. If you didn't want to use a lot of chocolate, I would suggest doing it the way that I'm doing it here, which is just taking a spoon with some melted chocolate in a container and just using the spoon to pick up the chocolate and just pour it on top of the pretzel and just twisting it around, making sure that you get all of the sides covered. I'm also going to link the Valentine's Day video that I did down in the description, where I show you how I did it, but I was dipping them fully in the chocolate instead of just doing it this way where I cover it with the spoon. So now I am just tapping all the remainder chocolate off of the pretzel, and then I'm just going to slowly drag it on the back, not hard enough where it exposes the caramel. And that's what it looks like when it's all done. And then we're just going to place it over the side to dry. And then we are going to repeat that process again with all the rest of our pretzels. I did half of them white, and then I did half of them in orange so that we can make them look like little carrots for Easter. And then once I was done doing the white ones, I did take a piping bag and put some of that extra chocolate off to the side, so once they were dry, I could drizzle them and add the sprinkles. And then using that same white chocolate, I just heated it back up in the microwave for a little bit, probably like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, something like that. And then I added some orange food coloring to it. You want to make sure that you use an oil-based food coloring. I say this in all of my videos, but I'm just going to say it in case you're a new viewer. You want to make sure that you use an oil-based food coloring, because if you don't and you use water-based, it's going to seize up your chocolate. You're not going to be able to work with it. So some of the brands that I have used is Chef Master. I've used Color Mill, and then AmeriColor also is another good brand. But you want to make sure that it is their oil-based food colorings and not their water-based food colorings. But I just repeated the same process for the dipping as the first 3 pretzels that I did. And then here I took some of the white chocolate and then I added some green to it, and I'm going to make the carrot tops. I'm going to let those dry, and while the carrot tops are drying, I'm going to take that white chocolate and drizzle it on top of the white pretzels. And then immediately after, I'm going to be adding my nonpareils. They are an Easter blend, so it's a bunch of pastels, super cute. Here I am adding the sprinkles. I'm just using the lid to sprinkle them on there. And then once this is done, I am going to put it to the side for it to dry. I love doing them with sprinkles. I think they look really cute, especially the little nonpareils. I love to put them on my caramel pretzels with the drizzle. I think that it's just such a cute touch. And now we are going to do the carrot ones. So I'm going to take that orange chocolate, drizzle it on the top of the pretzel, and then instead of adding sprinkles, we are going to be adding a crushed Oreo to look like dirt. So I'm going to pick up my pretzel and put it over the Oreo container and just take a spoon and sprinkle that on the top. I love this effect. I think that it is so super cute, and the Oreos make it look like it just got pulled out of the ground. But you can skip this step if you would like. I think it makes it look better. So I'm just going to drizzle the rest of the orange ones and then add the Oreo topping. And then once you are done doing this for your orange pretzels, you are going to take your green stems. They should be dry by now, and you're just going to pick them up. And then you're just going to take your orange chocolate, put a little bit on the pretzel, and then glue your green leaves on the top. I think that I've come to the conclusion that I like the way that the pretzels look with the caramel on them for the carrot look more than I like the strawberries that we did on top of the dirt cup. I don't know. The caramel twist just really does it for me. I got this container from my local Dollar Tree. It was about $5, and then it had a bunch of peat boxes inside of it. So there was one that was bigger than this, and then there was like 4 smaller ones that each fit into each other, if that makes sense. It's kind of like those dolls. I can't remember the name of them. I'll put it in the video. So I just put some marshmallows down at the bottom, and then here you see me adding the little carrot stems. I added some of those, and then I took my crushed Oreos, put those down at the bottom. And I am going to add some colorful marshmallows now. I did yellow ones, I did pink ones. No pink ones. I did yellow ones, green ones, and orange ones. Yeah, that's what I did. And normally it comes with pink ones, but I used all the pink marshmallows, so I couldn't use them here. But super cute still. Here's a picture of the peat boxes from Dollar Tree in case you're going to go looking for them. And that's how I made these pretzel rods for Easter. If you guys like this video, please leave a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you guys so much for watching.